by the power of Grayskull.
Over a legacy that has lasted for more than 4 decades. The Masters of the Universe franchise has gone through several reboots, spin-offs, movies, and reinventions throughout the years. Some are beloved classics, some are recent classics, and some should just belong in the trash. Today we are ranking every Masters of the Universe movie and series ever released. So, let's get to it. Released in 1983, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe quickly became a cultural phenomenon. For a majority of fans, this was their first introduction to Eternia, Castle Grayskull, and all the legendary battles between He-Man and Skeletor. Yeah, the animation is incredibly dated, while some episodes feel about the same, but this series still has its charm. Memorable characters, a vast world, and one of the best villains of all time really makes this iconic. Yes, it has that 80s cheese. Yes, it is campy. But 40+ years later, the show still serves as the foundation of every other show that has come after. And for that, this gets a... Since this movie is basically just repurposed into the first 5 episodes of She-Ra, I'll rather rank them both together. Just 2 years after He-Man, She-Ra, Princess of Power was released. And what might seem like a spin-off, just trying to ride the coattails of its predecessor, the show was actually a real standout, and in my eyes, became even better than Masters of the Universe. Adora's journey from Horde Captain to legendary hero is one of the reasons the show was so well received. While Masters of the Universe had Skeletor, She-Ra had Hordak, which provided to be an equally formidable villain. The show had so much more depth and character development to the original, and for that, it deserves a...
It was perfect.
Released in the same year as She-Ra, I'm not really going to spend much time on this one. The plot isn't anything groundbreaking. It's a holiday special. It's wholesome, heartwarming, and overflowing with Christmas spirit. So I think I'll give it a respectable... And here, dear viewer, we have the first ever live-action Masters of the Universe movie, with Victor Drago himself, Dolph Lundgren, playing He-Man. The film was released in 1987. Due to budget constraints, much of the magic of Eternia couldn't be captured on the big screen in all its glory, but it was surprisingly good despite its flaws. The definite standout of the movie was Frank Langella giving an amazing performance as Skeletor. Dolph was pretty okay as He-Man as well, and just like the 1983 cartoon, it too was cheesy, but still had that charm to it. It might not have been the adaptation fans were waiting for, but it is definitely a cult classic. Now we get to one of the low points in the franchise, with 1990's The New Adventures of He-Man, where they abandoned much of the fantasy aspects and gave us more of a futuristic science fiction type vibe that I, for one, was not feeling. I applaud them for trying something new and thinking of a fresh new perspective, but not when it compromises what made the show special in the first place. The new characters never became as popular as those that came before, and it just felt like the show lost some of that magic that the previous ones had. So with that being said, I give this one a... After a 7-year-long hiatus, they finally released a new show. And unlike New Adventures, they took everything the fans loved about the original series and modernized it successfully. The art style was improved, the action scenes were well done and exciting, and the He-Man lore itself was further expanded upon. All the characters were given more depth and fleshed out. It was honestly amazing, and still is. However, the show only lasted 2 seasons for a total of 39 episodes, which is genuinely a disservice to how good it actually was. I think the 2002 reboot deserves a...
Oh, it's beautiful.
After another hiatus that lasted 13 years, He-Man fans finally got that itch scratched. But it wouldn't come in the form of a movie or series. No. In 2017, a documentary called The Power of Grayskull, the definitive history of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, would be released celebrating everything the franchise had accomplished throughout the years. As far as documentaries go, I think this one might be one of the best when it comes to looking at a franchise retrospectively. It dives deep into the behind the scenes, from everything to the creation of the original toy line, the struggles with the early live-action movie, and how the series became so popular. So for me, I think the Power of Grayskull documentary deserves a...
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit.
Just 1 year after the documentary's release, the franchise would finally put out another series. Only this time, it wasn't He-Man, but She-Ra who came back first. She-Ra and the Princesses of Power was a completely reimagined story that catered towards modern audiences. And to my and everyone's surprise, it was actually good. They didn't rely on nostalgia to drive the show forward. They gave the characters some character development and emotion. And the series just got better and better with every season that came out. And for that, I'm giving it a...
That was smashing!
In 2021, Revelation would air as a follow-up to the 1983 cartoon. Visually, the series delivered, but where I personally was let down comes from the storytelling. Some characters were more focused on, while others took a back seat. But regardless of that, I still enjoyed the show for what it was, and Revelation gets a... In the same year, Netflix released another reboot series of Masters of the Universe. Unlike Revelations, this one was a CGI-style animation, and it was definitely different. The art style was different, the characters were all reimagined, and the pacing was way faster. And I, for one, was not that much of a fan with some of the decisions they made during the show. It has some good action sequences, and the CGI style wasn't too bad, but it definitely lacked the charm that the previous installment had. And for that, this reboot will only get a...
To be honest, meh.
In 2024, Revolution was released, and it delivered exactly what I was hoping for, with He-Man back to being the main focus of the story once more, world-building a fresh new take on Eternia, and Skeletor finally feeling like a truly menacing threat again. The pacing was much better, the action scenes were bigger and better, and the storytelling was just completely better overall. In the end, to me, this was a very satisfying continuation of the story, and Revolution gets a... It took 39 years, but we finally got another Masters of the Universe live-action movie. And the movie does a good job at building the magical land that is Eternia, and setting up the plot fairly quickly. It was a good introduction into the world of Masters of the Universe. When we meet our hero, he's down on his luck, just wanting to get back home, and you genuinely feel that. Nicholas Galitzine fits as a perfectly solid He-Man casting. The movie does, however, lean a bit too much into the humor, and in this case, some of the jokes were funny and some weren't, especially during some serious tension-building moments in the film, and that does take you out of it a little. The definite standout, just like in the 1987 movie, is Skeletor. Jared Leto commits fully into the campiness and cheesiness of the character, and honestly, he's the most fun character to watch when he's on screen. Some characters were definitely done justice, and some weren't. The fight scenes, especially the ones between He-Man and Skeletor, were very well done, and all in all, I enjoyed this one. It wasn't perfect, but I definitely had a fun time. So, Masters of the Universe 2026 gets a...
Not bad, not bad.
Thanks for watching, and like and subscribe for more.